Hello, this is the Ramblings of an Undisciplined Mind podcast for Monday, October 10th, 2016. Back from Siglerfest, made it back. I've got a few stories to tell, so that's what I'm going to focus at least the first couple days of this week on. We'll see how far that goes. Today I thought I'd tell the story of a couple things that happened outside of Siglerfest. So, we flew out Thursday evening on Delta. The flight was fine, although the seats were kind of tight together, even though we were in Comfort Plus, but we got free drinks, so I had me some beers. It was a good flight. We took an Uber. For my first time actually being a passenger in Uber, that went fine. We made it to the Orleans. We went to check into our room. And they said, we have you here until Monday. And I'm like, huh? Monday? So, no, we're supposed to be Sunday. We're supposed to be flying back. And the wife's trying to look at her phone, and she's having trouble seeing the itinerary of the trip. And she said, we'll leave it as is, and you can just let them know you're checking out early. Fine. So we check in and get the room keys. And I'm on my phone, I'm on the Delta app. And I actually found it before the wife did. I found out that, no, we're coming back on the 10th. And it's like, I've looked at this app, a number of times. We used the boarding pass off of that this time. It's actually the first time I did that. It worked quite nicely. Usually I've kind of been tied to that paper boarding pass, but using the phone worked out really nice. I bring it up, and it's Monday, and I'm like, we're supposed to fly back on Monday. That's what our flight is. I say, really? So we had problems. We had problems with that. I had initially taken Monday off, and I thought it was because we weren't sure when we were coming back, and so I'd taken the day off, but then I specifically moved it because I'm thinking we're coming back on Sunday, and the wife hadn't ever bothered to take Monday off. So, and she would have had to have canceled class and whatnot. And today wouldn't have been a really great day for me to be off work. I got projects that are going into production this week, and I got things to do, and it's just like, it'd be fun to stay, but at the same time, not really good. Doesn't really work out well. We thought, we could do it because it's probably going to cost a lot of money, and I actually cleared with my boss to go ahead and take today off because I emailed him right then and there, and he actually responded within a couple hours, even though by that point it was like 8 o'clock here. And I'm like, well, all right. Actually, yeah, I think he actually responded in the morning because I saw it in the morning. But we're just like, how can we be so freaking stupid? But what we ended up doing is, one of the things that Dave Ramsey does has used as a concept is, when you do something stupid with money, it costs you something. There's a financial consequence. And he calls that stupid tax. And so we went ahead and changed our flight. I called him up, and it cost us $210 each, so a total of $420. But we got on the 9:55 a.m. flight yesterday. So that got us in Detroit about 5:30. Actually, probably a little later. We were a good half an hour late leaving Vegas, but so yeah, we went ahead and paid that stupid tax, and then we just left on Sunday as we'd planned in our heads. So obviously we're getting old and we forget things, so we will be a lot more diligent of double checking and 8 quadruple checking dates, because that was just stupid. The other thing that happened was so Thursday night we actually did meet up with A. Kovacs, A Real Girl is her Twitter handle, and she is what's called the Director of Doom. She is the scheduling side of the partnership, whereas Scott is the creative side of the partnership. And she was going to be ensconced in a particular bar there at the Orleans. And so we, checked in, we dropped our stuff off, and we're still sitting there thinking about how stupid we are. We went and saw A, and you got to say hi to her and all that. And then we were going to dinner with an old high school friend of the wife's that lives in New Orleans. And we had a couple of things we could do, and she's like, if you want to go for dinner, there's this real hole-in-the-wall Italian place that we know that's excellent. So we're thinking, okay, this friend's husband's name was Luciano. We're kind of envisioning, Luciano, he's obviously Italian, even though their last name is Italian, and he wants to take us to a hole-in-the-wall Italian place. Well, this ought to be great. The funny thing is, he turned out to be Canadian. He is, he does have an Italian heritage, but he's Canadian. He's got zero accent. He doesn't even have a Canadian accent. He sounds like us, Michiganders. So we said, let's do the hole in the wall. So we were heading to the hole in the wall restaurant, and we're driving, and we get to a certain point, and there's this. We're coming up to this place. It's a renovated house, and it's called Chicago Joe's. And he pulls in, and I think to myself, well, there's a hole if I've ever seen one. And we pulled into that parking lot. And so basically, it's just a little small house, probably 1930s style, one maybe two bedrooms, upstairs. Living room, dining room, kitchen. I mean, it's just dinky. And the backyard's been turned into a parking lot. And so, we that's where we're going. So we get there, and this is Arizona. It's been in the 80s, so both the front door and the back door are wide open, and so you can hear the sound of the night. And we order food. And the food is awesome. And what's funny is we order wine, because I'm not driving still. Got some wine, and they give it to you in like these little juice glasses. It's funny. That's part of their ambiance. And get the food, and it is spectacular. And I'm assuming it's authentic. I mean, it's what I would assume authentic is. It's really, really good stuff. And we're having a nice meal. I don't know either one of these two people, so I'm meeting them and learning about them, and vice versa. And the wife and her friend are reminiscing and whatnot. It was a good meal. And we're getting toward the end. We're winding down, and there are these two loud concussions that happen. And at first I thought it was thunder, but then Luciano says, no, that's not thunder. Now, I should point out that the neighborhood we're in isn't really very good. Right next door, there is a 2-story apartment building that looks like it used to be, a motel or something. And all of the windows and doors have bars on them. So, and he tells us, as we were walking in, Luciano was telling a story about when they first started coming to this place, the apartments didn't even have doors on them. So yeah, this isn't a really great part of town, to put it mildly. So those two concussions, and they sounded kind of like cannons going off. And then the waiter came by a little bit later, and we asked him about it. He says, the SWAT's over here, and they're breaking in someplace. So they were flash grenades going off. And we actually heard one more before we got out of there. So I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. So we're leaving the restaurant, and they've closed the doors. So I don't know if that was because of the noises to kind of muffle them a little bit. I kind of suspect that's the case. And we get into the vehicle that we're driving. And running it's kind of your typical little house there, and there's an alley running behind it, and so the parking lot leads. You got a choice. You can go back out the front, or you can go to the alley. And so Luciano backs his truck up, and he's aiming for the alley. And we kind of noticed there was this guy that was kind of loitering by the alley that was keeping kind of a weather eye in the parking lot, and we were making comments about, oh, there's an undesirable standing there. Well, this guy starts walking toward the truck when he sees the direction that it's pointed after it backs out, and he's not an undesirable. He is a sheriff with bulletproof vest stuff on. It's like, okay. So he walks up to the window, and he's like, you're not going to want to try to go through the alley because we got that end locked off, and we got the other end. SWAT's kind of blocking it. So we're like, but you can go out the front. So it's like, okay. So we went out the front, and it was kind of funny because the road in the front's a one way, so we couldn't, and we needed to basically turn right, but we couldn't. But we had to go that direction, so we had to turn and then do a around the block thing. Well, we ended up right by. They had some streets closed off, but we ended up going right by where the SWAT team was. We could see the big SWAT van, black SWAT van, and there was another big police van there. So I was like, and then we got on a road and we were heading back toward the nicer end of town. So that was kind of funny. I can finally say, we had a lovely dinner, drinking wine out of juice glasses and listening to flash grenades go off. Yes, police break into somebody's apartment. So I was like, okay, well, that was the first one. If nothing else, I thought, my first thought was, well, I got a great story for the podcast. And there it is. So tomorrow I'll probably talk about the happenings at the Sigler Fest. And we'll go from there. But that's all I was going to talk about today. I will be back tomorrow. I will be talking to you then. So, be seeing you.